guys, thanks for dialing in. So today I have a very special guest, Richard Crowe, a good friend of mine, where we're going to be talking all things mortgages in the UK. So let's go. So Rich, I'll let you introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, no problem, mate. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to come on and speak. My name's Richard Crowe. I live in Skegness in Lincolnshire, sunny Skeg Vegas. If you've never been, we've got the donkeys here are amazing. Telling you. I'm a mortgage and insurance broker. Basically, I help people make their dreams come true, and I protect their loved ones at a time when they need it the most. I'm also, like Joe, but not quite as good as him. I've got one exam left until I become a fully qualified IFA, and I am also a money mindset coach, where I actually bridge the gap between the IFA that looks after all the people with all the money, because that's where they earn the money. I look after the person at the bottom, which is where I used to be, and I help change people's mindsets on that. Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, how did you get into mortgages then, first of all?
Oh, great question. Great question. I got into mortgages by the skin of my teeth. So my story, without going too much into it, I was 52 grand in debt with a coke problem, went into massive debt plan.
It's a conversation to go, but yeah.
May just fucking hit it, get it out there. By the way, I swear a bit, I'm sorry. And I actually owned a gym. Okay, so I had this gym for 10 years, but I'd left the financial industry. I was an insurance sales rep. And I was ace at it. I smashed it. But it was just pressure. It was one of these companies where, I don't know if you've ever worked in a company like this, but instead of training the people that shit to get better, what was easier was to get the people that were really good to do more. All right, it was kind of backwards. And after like 8-9 years, I'd had enough. My tank was empty. So I left, opened this gym, loved it, great gym. I was a shit gym owner. I had no idea how to make money as a gym owner. So I had this great gym, rubbish, terrible. And I actually got injured, Joe. And you know, we've trained, but we had a week where we trained together when Joe visited Skeg. It was before he made it big in the IFA business, obviously. Back here. And I used to train like an animal, and I proper busted my shoulder, and I was out for 3 years. And my best mate at the time, I'd trained up in insurance, and he'd actually become a mortgage broker. So he just kept having a go at me and saying, come and work me. Look, Rich, you're depressed. All right. Because owning a gym and not being able to touch anything is like kind of owning a sweet shop and being told you're diabetic. Right. It's shit. Right. So I went and did all my qualifications. The FCA obviously looked at me, even though I was in a debt plan. I was amazing at paying it. So I had loads of debt. I'd broken a lot of, obviously, credit commitments. But by this point, it was about 5 years down the line. So they considered it historic. And I was always bang on at paying my debt. So they let me into the industry. Whether they regret that now, I'm not sure. But I'm still here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me. I got qualified in 2014.
Okay. So if we just jump straight into then, so again, people that just dialed in, we're talking all things mortgages today. So what are the different types of mortgages?
Okay, so the most common is just your usual residential mortgage. Okay, and your residential mortgage is obviously, that's the home that you live in. Okay, so you're intending to live in that house. Everybody in the UK can have 2 residential properties. Okay, the thing is, what that means is they fall under regulated rules. Okay, that means there are certain things that have to happen. And the number one thing that really has to happen in that instance is okay, it's not just as easy as going, oh, I'm going to have 2 residential mortgages, okay? You've got to be able to meet the affordability of both properties, okay? Whether or not you might have a family member going into the other property, okay? And you might go, well, they're going to pay the mortgage, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. What happens if they fall? What happens if they die? Who's going to pay it then? Oh, that's going to be you, isn't it? So you've got to be able to prove that you can pay for both of the mortgages. Then, of course, we move on to the other thing, which is a buy-to-let, okay? That's when you buy a house and your intention is to let it out, okay? So that product is designed for that end. Right? Residential is designed for residential. Part of the problem that we have is people have this mindset where they think, well, as long as it gets paid, what does it matter? All right, it matters. All right, a lot. All right, so no. All right, you can't get in touch with me and say, I want to buy to let and I'm going to live in it, because, well, that's not buy to let then. Okay. Clues in the name.
Right, so on that then, so if we look at, what sort of deposit would someone have to put down now? So if they're either buying a house to live in, or if they're buying a house as an investment.
Okay, so great question there. Okay, so on a residential mortgage, okay, you can get away with as little as 5%.
Okay.
Okay. There are a few lenders that actually do like a home start mortgage, whereby what you can actually do is your parents or a family member can put down a 10% deposit. That money goes into a savings. Okay. The money accrues interest. Okay. After 3 years, the parents will be paid back the full amount of the money with interest. So it's like an investment, okay, for the parents. And it's incentive for couples that can't and don't have the money to maybe put a deposit in. So it is essentially 100% deposit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, with security from the family.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really good. Obviously, on a residential, the higher, when I talk about, to clients, I talk about levels of deposit. When I'm talking to lenders, I'm talking about LTVs. Okay, so LTV is loan to value. Okay, so it's the loan, the percentage of the loan to the value of the property. So if you put in a 5% deposit, that is a 95% loan to value product. Okay, now what happens is this: when we're at 95% loan to value, the rates are at their highest. And the reason for that is because, quite simply, you are the biggest risk. Right? If you stop paying your mortgage, the lender is the one with all the money on the table.
Yeah.
Okay. As the amount of deposit that you put in goes up and the LTV comes down, the rate comes down with it to reward you for the lesser risk that the lenders have. Now, in terms of buy-to-lets, the most common mortgage deposit is 25%. Okay, so obviously, if you're buying a house for £100,000, you're going to have to put £5,000 in, plus your 3% stamp duty, plus your broker fee, which is massive, by the way. All right, and your okay. So you're going to need, on a £100,000 investment property, you're probably going to need in the region of £30,000 to get started. Okay. But like the video that you did the other day, which I thought was amazing, about the 3 brothers that were given £200. People, if you've seen that, give it a watch. Okay, because it's absolutely brilliant video, one of the best I've seen, in fact. All right, not to give you the big end. Other types of mortgages is, we're doing one of these at the moment. It's called a let to buy. What's that? Okay, well, it's quite simple. Okay, you are letting the property that you now live in out, probably raising capital for a deposit for a further purchase where you are buying. So you are letting your current residential property, okay, to buy another residential property. And then what you're going to do is, with the property that you are living in right now, you're going to change that into a buy-to-let and rent it out, okay? Then, of course, you've also your commercial mortgages, anything commercial. You're probably looking in the region of 25 to 30% deposit as well. Okay.
Okay. And what are the best rates available at the minute? Which I'm guessing everybody asks you this.
I'm gutted that you said available, because people
okay. Richard, what's the best rate I can get?
Well, people always go, "What's the best rates right now?" And I go, 0%. I go, "Really? Can you get that?" I go, "No, but it's the best rate." Right? So the problem that we've got, okay, it is very difficult to give you a specific figure. All right. And the reason being is because there are so many connotations. All right. We work with a list of between 90 and 100 lenders at any one time. And that's from your high street lenders who you see every day when you go to the shops. Their rates are the smallest, to lenders that you will have never have heard of, specialist lenders. So perhaps you may have bad credit. Okay. Chances are, if you've got bad credit, you're going to find it very difficult to walk into your high street bank and ask them for money. You can ask them and that'll be dead easy, but they're going to tell you to bugger off. Okay. So we work with lenders, and their target audience, their market, is people that have bad credit. Okay. So if you have bad credit and you're looking to mortgage or remortgage, okay, whether it's me or another person, but preferably me, okay, you are probably well worth working with a broker on that one, because if you've got any bad credit at all, CCJs, missed payments, the the arrangements to pay, there's a very good chance that you're going to struggle. Okay. So yeah, difficult to pinpoint exact rates.
And where do you see interest rates going? Do you think they'll because obviously they've increased recently?
They have, yes. And I mean, obviously this is subjective and just personal. Okay. We can't really project and with any degree of certainty where they're going to go. You talk about this all the time, Joe. You know, when people go, "Oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen," they're just guessing. Okay, they are just guessing. And if you actually speak to people within the industry, they're probably going to step away from actually answering the question directly, because...
Do you see them getting higher, though?
My guess is that they'll...
Short term.
Yes, yeah. My guess is that they'll go higher, because I think what people have got to, or should understand, is that we are in the after effects of very special circumstances, i.e. COVID.
Yeah.
Okay. I actually had a meeting with a lender at 10 o'clock today. And one of their special USPs is that if you're self-employed and you had CIS grants, government grants, okay, they will use that as income, where most other lenders, okay, if you had grants, they go, "Oh no, you can't use that as profit." Like, why the fuck not? It was given to me to put me back into the same position I was in. All right. Yeah. So only now, 2 years on, are we getting people, lenders, actually coming around to a common sense way of lending there. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I do think they're probably going to go up, and I think that's okay, because we got bailed out for 2 years. Okay. With quantitative easing, basically we just invented money, right? And with all this money that people just got given, and people were very happy to take that money, they've got to understand at some point it's got to be taken back.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't like paying taxes as much as you, although my goal is to get as high as possible, because that is a direct correlation to how successful my business is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Valid point. Good way of looking at it. Right. Okay. So would you say then now is, if someone's considering buying a property, or if someone's considering remortgaging or looking at what options are available, would you argue now is a good time to do that if
100%.
you do think rates are going to increase in the short term?
100%. This is my personal opinion. Okay, I don't think it really matters what the rate is. Okay, when you rang me just to confirm, I'd been stopped by my neighbour. Okay, I've lived in this house 20 years, and he actually just pulled me aside, interestingly, and said, "Rich, just a quick one. How's business?" Oh, absolutely amazing. He was like, "Really?" So yeah, we're about actually to have our biggest month ever in 8 years, and it blew his mind.
But the world's about to end, Rich.
Yeah, seriously.
The property market's about to collapse.
Yeah,
It's about to fall off a cliff.
I mean, it's fucked, man. Yeah, I'm preparing to sell myself. Yeah, all right. Where else am I going to live? Right? And he couldn't understand it, and he was like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, honestly." All right. I said, "We are on the verge of having our biggest month ever in 8 years." Okay.
Wow. Okay.
And what he couldn't really understand was, right? And this guy, he's been in his house like since they were built. He's mortgage free. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Ask yourself this. If you own a house right now, you've got a mortgage on it, and interest rates fly up, are you going to sell your fucking house? No. You're going to go, "Oh, well." If you have a mortgage over 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 years, you have got to accept, and you probably accept that at some point over that period of time, interest rates are going to go up. So over that period of time, when interest rates go up, as we've just said, you don't bail out and sell your house because interest rates have gone up. Because whatever interest rates are at, all I know is rent is 100% interest.
Yeah.
All right? So you're always going to stay in your house. It just so happens that right now interest rates have gone up, and let's face it, we have been very fucking well looked after the past 4 or 5 years. Money, on the whole, is still very, very cheap to borrow. Okay?
And on that note then, just to interject with that, so
yeah.
If someone has got a mortgage-free property, or if someone has got quite a bit of equity in the property, do you think it would be good advice, or not so much advice, that's the wrong word to say, but do you think it'd be wise to look at the opportunity of releasing some of that equity to then invest that into another property that you can then rent out on a buy-to-let?
Yeah, potentially so, because interest rates are obviously, rental rates have flown through the roof. And I think this is why we're actually still really busy. Because, yes, of course, we see it on the news, right? And undoubtedly, people may potentially have less money in their pockets because we're all paying more for gas, we're all paying more for electric, we're all paying more for petrol and diesel and food. And I get it. But guess what? So are all those people that are renting.
Yeah. And they still need somewhere to live.
They still need somewhere to live. So regardless of those costs, people still want to buy a house because no matter what, rent is 100% interest. Okay? And let's face it, all those years ago, what was it? Well, I say all those years ago, what was it, maybe 6 years ago, or whatever, interest rates started going down. When interest rates went down to 1.25 as a base rate for the first time ever, money's never been so cheap. Right?
Yeah.
Well, it's only because it went a little bit further down. If they'd have stayed at 1.25 all the way through as the base rate, we'd be looking, wouldn't we? So it's all about perspective. Okay? On the whole, money is still very, very cheap to borrow. Would it be a good idea to take money out? It all depends on what your life goal is, isn't it, really? You know, if my missus is an example, she's got a buy-to-let property. She's put up for sale. She hates being a landlady. Whether it's a good investment, whether or not, it doesn't really matter. If you're going to hate being a landlady or a landlord, don't fucking do it. So, for me, don't bother me. I would have happily let her keep it, but she made a decision she wanted to get rid of it. It stressed her out, it annoyed her, so that's cool. So that's more the decision there. But you've also got to think there are other places where people like yourself can put money for people that are a lot less stressful.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, obviously what I do is funds and invest in that side of things as well. But I do believe in property as an investment, as an asset class.
Without a doubt.
And I'm similar to your miss as well. I've got zero interest in it. Like, I will not go around and give it like a pain. I've got zero interest if something goes wrong. I don't want a phone call 10 o'clock Saturday night if the boiler breaks down. That's why I outsource all that. I've got a letting company that just manages it all.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of headache off my plate.
Because let's face it, tenants never ring you 10 o'clock on a Saturday and go, Joe, you are the best landlord in the world.
Don't ever ring me and say that, but that's a different story. Right, so what do lenders like and dislike? So if I'm looking at getting a mortgage in 6 months or a year's time, or I'm going to start the process of getting a mortgage, approaching yourself, what should I be doing?
Okay, I mean, this list could be pretty endless, but the main ones, okay, you need to make sure that you are on the council tax where you live, the electoral roll, okay? You might think, I'm not bothered about voting, so I don't need to go on. You do. Just get on it, okay? All you need to do is Google your local council, all right, and local council tax. There'll be a page, a phone number, an email, send away, they'll put you on. Okay, so make sure that you're on. Also, make sure your bank statements are at your registered address where you're living, which is the same place as you're going to get on the electoral roll. Make sure your driving license is at the same address, okay? Because lenders do searches on you. They like to be able to find you. They like to see you're organised. They like to see everything in order. All of these things, when they're all put in line, they're going to increase and boost your credit score, okay? Make sure you don't take out any large credit agreements, okay, in the 6 months leading up. One thing which you really ought to try and do is if you've got credit cards, keep them at below 50% of your balance, of your total, okay? So what you're allowed, if you've got a £5,000 limit, make sure you owe under 2.5. Always leave it so you've got capacity there. Shows the lender that you're not living to your limits. Make sure that you make payments on all your financial commitments, okay? Probably one of the best things that you could do is download your credit file. We always recommend Check My File. Okay, you can just Google them, download Check My File, and what happens with those is they give you Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion all under one credit reference agency. They are the 3 agencies that lenders use. Okay, so that means you get to see all the information, okay, that lenders can see on you. So if there is any not there, then you can get rid of them prior to going for the mortgage. If you've got an ex-partner that you are still associated with via, say, maybe a joint bank account or something like that, if they have shit credit, right, you may not have spoken to them for 10 years, but if you have a financial association and they have really bad credit, that is going to go against you, all right? So you need to do what's called a financial disassociation. You can do that through Check My File, and it will disassociate you with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion.
All right, okay. Okay. Right, brilliant.
Probably loads, but I think that.
Yeah. And I'm guessing something you do quite a lot, so can debt also be used as a debt consolidation tool? And would you recommend it?
Yeah. And we're seeing that kind of more and more. Mainly, but it could possibly be because of my background, obviously with debt in the past, and because I'm so open about it, people feel comfortable to be able to come to me. They know that they're not going to be judged, if that makes sense, because being shit with money and being in debt, it's kind of a bit of an embarrassing thing, isn't it? And it shouldn't be. It's still a very taboo subject. But what we actually need is people putting their hands up and going, do you know what? I need help. Okay? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. What is wrong is to keep quiet, keep doing what you're doing. One of the key things which I would say with debt consolidation, lenders will only go up to a certain loan to value, which means you've got to have equity left in the property. I think the best you're going to get is going up to 90%. So you'll have 10% equity left in. If you are going to debt consolidate, do it before you start missing payments. If things are that bad, start to do it, especially if it's playing on your mental health. If you find yourself staying awake at night and you're struggling to get to sleep because you don't know how you're going to feed the kids, feed the cat and the dog, pay the bills, okay? Don't wait to the point that you are going to be missing bills, okay? Do it before, because if you wait until after you're missing bills, you're going to make it harder for yourself. But yeah, great way. But the key thing is as well, Joe, there has to be a reset. Okay, there's got to be a reset. You can't just debt consolidate and go back to how you were, because you can only debt consolidate so many times until the next move is you've got to sell your.
Yeah.
So, always like to see a change in mentality. We've got to have some plan in action to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Anything else you want to add, or anything you think could be valuable for people to listen to or to know regarding mortgages?
If you are thinking of buying a house, okay, and we get this quite a lot, which is it's annoying because it makes it more stressful for people. If you're thinking of buying a house, before you go looking at houses and picking the house of your dreams, go and find your broker. Okay, speak to them. Get a decision in principle before you do anything. Okay, because there's nothing worse than going, finding the house of your dreams, putting an offer in, and then you go find a broker that tells you you can't have said house, because that can be a little bit soul destroying. Okay, so make sure that you get your broker well in advance. We will prepare you. Come to us if you want to get in touch. Add me, follow me, drop me a message. No problem. You know, we will let you know what you can borrow, how much it's going to cost you, what deposit you're going to need to put in, and we can actually let you know the level of, or the value of property, okay, that you can go shopping for. Okay, well, what we do is we then take away all the stress and the strain, and hopefully, you know, we make it an amazing experience for you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So, where can people find you?
You can find me on here. Okay, you can just follow me, drop me any message if you want. You can also Google Richard Crowe, mortgage and insurance broker. I've got my own website. We only started about 2 months ago. Okay, I think we've got about 128 5-star Google reviews. Unbelievable that my mum could post so many. Joking. Right. Or you can add the book, Richard Crowe. That's my personal page. You can also add, follow my business page, Richard Crowe Mortgages and Insurance on Facebook. Or if you want to just get better with money and without any investment advice, because I don't do that yet. Richard Crowe Money Mindset.
Tell us about that then. So what is the money mindset stuff that you do?
Well, basically what happened was when I got 52 grand in debt, I had a great time, by the way. Although I didn't actually have a great time. I have got lots of cool stories though, but probably not for Instagram.
A lot of this is down in the Middle East as well, mate, so just be careful.
Exactly, yeah. Basically, what happened was with my own experiences have been in debt, getting out of debt as well, which was a big. I noticed more and more and more people, when they came to see me for mortgages, they had no clue what was going on with their finances. And I just dabbled with a particular way of setting up my own money. And it was working. It was very successful, because I think the main issue with money is, like food, it's very emotional, isn't it? Okay. If we can take the emotion out of money or food, okay, we're going to get on a lot better, because then we're just using logic to make decisions. But as we all know, as human beings, it doesn't always work that way. And I found that more and more people were basically uneducated in money. And that's not their fault, because people were essentially being taught by their parents. And if your parents were shit with money, well, you're probably going to be shit with money. Okay. My mum was great with money. My dad was an alcoholic, and I chose to follow him. What a bad decision. All right. And I did a live training. Obviously, I know Joe through our mutual coach, Paul Mort. And I did a live training for all his men. They absolutely loved it. And they were like, when's your course start? I was like, I haven't got a course, leave me alone. I want to do a course, I haven't written a course, bugger off. And anyway, these people, they just kept on badgering me. And in the end, I advertised, written, and 33 people signed up, which kind of left me in a position where I shit myself and thought, I better write a course. And I didn't want to do it at all. And I ended up, I absolutely loved it. So just over a year, I've had 130 people go through the course. There's 4 weeks of mindset where we completely transform and unravel all the shit and your wrong beliefs about yourself. So we have 4 weeks where we really deep dive into your mental state regarding money. And then there's, on week 5, I have what's called my 5-pot money formula. I teach that. In the final 3 weeks, it's more about protecting yourself, how much is enough, opening yourself up to investments, and how to get mortgage ready. Okay, so I do like I think it's about an hour and 15 minutes training on becoming mortgage ready, you see. So when you ask me just a few bits, I could talk about that for a long. There are a lot of factors in. But yeah, the money coaching is something which I really, really enjoy, because I can resonate strongly with how people feel, and I also have the skill set to help people get out of it, because that's exactly what I've done.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, grand. Well, Rich, thank you for your time. I know you're busy. I do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And yeah,
anytime.
the next one. Brilliant. Guys, have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in. And Rich, I'll catch you later.
Sweet. Great to see you all.
Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye now. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Joe.